In a world filled with wonders, from the glowing waves of bioluminescent blooms to the beautiful nacreous clouds, it's easy to think we've seen it all. Earth never ceases to amaze us with its wonders, each more surprising than the last. These natural marvels remind us that our planet is a place of endless mystery and fascination, constantly challenging what we think we know and inviting us to explore further. When it comes to America, the land of freedom and dreams, it feels even bigger and better. This country holds its own set of astonishing facts that might just leave you speechless. From the world's fourth longest river system to a melting pot of cultures and innovations, the US is a country where the extraordinary seems to be the norm. Here are 10 shocking facts about the United States that will make your jaw drop. 1. Bourbon overpopulation in Kentucky. Kentucky is a state known for its horse racing, bluegrass music, and, most importantly, its bourbon. Speaking of bourbon, there are more barrels of bourbon in Kentucky than there are people. Yeah, you heard that right. With over 7.5 million barrels aging gracefully in the state's rickhouses compared to its population of around 4.5 million folks. Bourbon isn't just a drink in Kentucky. It's an overpopulation crisis. That is mind-blowing. The genesis of this fact lies in the state's perfect conditions for bourbon production. Kentucky's natural limestone water, which is as pure as it gets, combined with the ideal climate for aging, makes it the bourbon capital of the world. For Kentuckians, the bourbon phenomena is a source of pride and a booming industry pumping $9 billion into the local economy annually. For visitors, it's a pilgrimage to the holy land of whiskey. Americans, especially those from Kentucky, wear this fact like a badge of honor. The subject of bourbon sparks fun conversations at bars worldwide. Foreigners, on the other hand, are often gobsmacked. It's one thing to know Americans love their bourbon, but the scale of it is another story. It's a testament to the state's dedication to crafting the perfect spirit, but also a hilarious reminder of just how unique local cultures can be within the US. 2. A city named Boring. Let's talk about Boring. No, not the adjective, but the city named Boring in Oregon. Now, if that's not a conversation starter, I don't know what is. This little town, with a population of around 13,000 souls, was named after William H. Boring, a Union soldier and early settler. But the name has become something of a local joke, with businesses and residents embracing the puns that naturally follow. What is the shock factor here? Well, first off, the sheer coincidence of a town named Boring being anything but. Boring is located in the scenic beauty of Oregon, offering a peaceful, idyllic lifestyle that many would find quite exciting. Secondly, the way this small community has leveraged its name for a bit of fun and tourism is nothing short of genius. They've partnered with Dull in Scotland and Bland in Australia to form the Trinity of Tedium, a global alliance that celebrates these uniquely named places. Americans find the fact amusing and endearing. Foreigners, meanwhile, are often tickled pink by the discovery. It's a gentle reminder that sometimes life doesn't take itself too seriously, and neither should we. Having a city named like that goes to show how a name, something as simple and fundamental as that, can shape a town's identity and bring a community together in the most unexpected ways. 3. America has no official language. Yeah, you heard that right. Despite English being the de facto language, spoken and understood by the vast majority, it's not officially recognized at the federal level. Shocking, isn't it? The genesis of this fact traces back to the early days of the nation. In 1780, John Adams proposed making English the official language, but the idea was shot down as undemocratic and a threat to individual liberty. Imagine that. The implications of this decision have been far-reaching. Throughout history, this lack of an official language has made the US a place where people from all cultures and languages can coexist. Today, Americans pride themselves on this linguistic diversity, while others often find it fascinating and sometimes baffling. That such a powerful country hasn't pinned down a single language as its official tongue. Now, how do people react to this? Well, Americans typically shrug it off as just another American thing. Meanwhile, visitors are oftentimes confused. You mean to tell me I can speak my native language and it's protected by law? Yep, that's America for you. And as for significance, this fact highlights the US's commitment to freedom and diversity. Principles that are as American as apple pie. But here's a fun little nugget to chew on. Despite no official language, try getting through a day without encountering English. Good luck. 4. A royal palace in the US. The United States houses the only royal palace in use on its soil. No, we're not talking about some fancy estate that a billionaire calls his palace. We're talking about the real deal, Iolani Palace in Hawaii. This fact is so shocking because, well, America and royalty aren't exactly two peas in a pod. The history of this palace dates back to when Hawaii was an independent kingdom before it became a US state in 1959. The implications of having a royal palace in a country that famously rebelled against a king are deliciously ironic. Americans view Iolani Palace with a mix of pride and curiosity, a majestic reminder of Hawaii's royal past. Foreigners, on the other hand, are often surprised to learn that such a place exists in the US. It's a significant piece of history that adds yet another layer to America's rich cultural history. And here's the cherry on top. Iolani Palace had electricity before the White House did. How's that for a royal flex? 5. Kansas produces enough wheat in 1 year to feed everyone in the world for 2 weeks. Kansas isn't called the breadbasket of the world for nothing. This state, with its large expanses of golden fields under the wide-open skies, produces enough wheat in 1 year to feed every single person on this planet for 2 weeks. Yes, you read that correctly. Every single person. That's over 7 billion mouths to feed. Now let's break that down, because it's a lot to digest. The fertile soils and ideal climate of Kansas makes it perfect for wheat cultivation. This isn't a recent development either. Wheat has been a staple crop in Kansas for generations, contributing significantly to both the state's and the country's economy. The implications of this are massive. In a world where hunger and food security are pressing issues, knowing that a single US state can produce such an astonishing amount of food is both comforting and a bit mind-boggling. Americans, particularly Kansans, take great pride in this fact. Foreigners, on the other hand, are often amazed when they hear this. It's a crazy fact that highlights the abundance and productivity of American agriculture. If you were to lay out all the wheat produced in Kansas in 1 year, it would probably circle the earth multiple times. Now, if that's not shocking, I don't know what is. 6. There are hundreds of kilometers of bookshelves in the Library of Congress. The Library of Congress is the largest library in the world, with hundreds of kilometers of bookshelves. If you started walking along these shelves, you'd be trekking for days before you saw the end. And it's not just books. The Library of Congress houses millions of manuscripts, maps, photographs, and recordings. The genesis of this colossal collection dates back to 1800, making it not only a repository of knowledge, but also a piece of American history. Its significance cannot be overstated. It's a treasure trove for researchers, historians, and the general public. Americans view it with a sense of pride and reverence, understanding its role in preserving the nation's cultural heritage. Foreigners, meanwhile, are often stunned by its sheer scale and the depth of its collections. It's a crazy fact that perfectly shows the value Americans place on knowledge and history. And just for fun, imagine if you tried to read every book in the Library of Congress. You'd need several lifetimes to get through them all. Now, isn't that something? 7. There's enough concrete in Hoover Dam to stretch across the country. Now, When you think of impressive feats of engineering, the Hoover Dam probably pops up in your mind, right? But here's something that'll really knock your socks off. There's enough concrete in the Hoover Dam to stretch across the country. Yeah, you heard that right. We're talking about a whopping 4.5 million cubic yards of concrete. The dam was constructed between 1931 and 1936, during the Great Depression. It was not just an engineering marvel, but a beacon of hope and human capability. Fast forward to today, and the implications of such a massive use of concrete are still discussed among engineers, environmentalists, and tourists who gaze in awe at the structure. The dam is a testament to what humans can achieve when they set their minds to it. 8. More people live in New York City than in 40 out of 50 states. Let that sink in for a moment. With a population north of 8.5 million, NYC is more crowded than entire states like Utah and 38 others. This is a staggering statistic that shows the immense cultural and economic magnet that is New York City. NYC's massive population can be traced back to its days as a key entry point for immigrants coming to America. Over the years, it has blossomed into a melting pot of cultures, languages, and dreams. This translates to NYC having a unique vibe and rhythm unlike anywhere else in the US, influencing everything from politics to entertainment and even the culinary scene. Americans from other states either view NYC with a mix of awe and envy, or see it as a bustling, overcrowded metropolis. Meanwhile, foreigners often see it as the epitome of the American dream, a place where anything can happen. The significance of NYC's population is profound. It's a city that's more populous than vast swathes of the country, showing off the urban-rural divide and the concentration of resources and opportunities. If NYC were a state, it would rank 12th in population. That's how crazy it is. 9. The town of Centralia, Pennsylvania has been on fire for 55 years. It is crazy to think that a town has been on fire for over half a century. Well, it is true. Since 1962, an underground coal mine fire has been burning beneath this once thriving borough, turning it into something straight out of a dystopian novel. The inferno is believed to have started as an intentional burn of trash in a strip mine, which accidentally ignited a seam of coal. Talk about a barbecue gone wrong. The implications are as wild as the story itself. At its peak, Centralia was home to over 1,000 residents, but as of 2020, we're down to a mere 5 souls brave, or perhaps stubborn, enough to call it home. The ground beneath their feet is literally on fire, with smoke and toxic gases seeping through cracks in the earth. It's a scene so surreal that it inspired the ghost town in the horror film Silent Hill. Americans and foreigners are equally fascinated and horrified by Centralia. It's become a sort of macabre tourist attraction, drawing in the curious and the brave. Centralia serves as a reminder of the long-term consequences our actions can have on the environment. And as for how crazy this fact is, let's just say it sets the bar pretty high. I mean, a town that's been burning for over 55 years is something you'd expect from a sci-fi movie, not real life. 10. Las Vegas. Endless accommodations. Now when you think of Vegas, your mind probably jumps to casinos, extravagant shows, and maybe even a quickie wedding or two. But there is one more fact about Vegas that will leave you speechless. Las Vegas is home to an astonishing 150,857 hotel rooms as of 2022. To put that into perspective, if you decided to stay in a different room every night, it would take you over 413 years to sleep in them all. And by the time you finished, there'd probably be even more rooms to start over with. This city isn't just playing games, it's setting records. Now, why is this so shocking? First off, the sheer scale of accommodations available in one city is mind-boggling. It's like if every person in Pasadena, California, decided to go to Vegas, there'd be a room for each of them, with a few to spare. The genesis of this fact lies in Vegas' relentless pursuit to be the entertainment capital of the world. Over the years, this desert oasis has transformed from a modest railroad service center to a booming hotspot for tourists seeking fun, gambling, and entertainment. The implications of having such a large number of hotel rooms are significant. For starters, it means Vegas can host millions of visitors annually without breaking a sweat. In 2019, the city welcomed over 42 million visitors. That's like the entire population of Argentina deciding to hit the Strip. This accommodation capacity has made Vegas not just a national, but a global hub for conferences, events, and of course, tourism. Americans and foreigners marvel at this fact. For Americans, it's a point of pride, knowing full well that their country has the ability to host and entertain on a grand scale. For foreigners, it's often a jaw-dropping realization of the American ethos of go big or go home. The significance of this cannot be overstated. The city's economic engine is powered by hospitality and entertainment, and this crazy fact shows it. Despite the staggering number of hotel rooms, Vegas's occupancy rates remain enviably high. This city doesn't just build rooms for the sake of it fills them. The demand for Vegas's unique blend of entertainment keeps these rooms occupied year-round, making it a lucrative business. It's a cycle of supply and demand that few places in the world can match. And just when you thought it couldn't get any more Vegas, you realize that the city consumes 60,000 pounds of shrimp daily. That's more than the rest of the United States combined. What does this have to do with hotel rooms? Well, it's all part of the extravagant Vegas experience. Each hotel not only offers a place to sleep, but an adventure into culinary delights, entertainment extravaganzas, and luxury pampering that makes staying in Vegas an unforgettable experience. So next time you're planning a trip to Sin City, remember, finding a place to stay won't be a gamble, but choosing where. Now that's where the real game begins. Seeing all of these facts, it's clear that this country is much more than its iconic landmarks and historical achievements. From its natural wonders to its groundbreaking contributions to science and culture, the US is a land of endless surprises and discoveries. These 10 shocking facts are just the tip of the iceberg, inviting us to look beyond the surface and appreciate the incredible diversity and innovation of America. So, the next time you gaze at the Star-Spangled Banner or hum a tune by an American artist, remember that the United States is a place where the extraordinary happens every day.